Hello, friends. If you're listening to this right now, just know we are live, which means if we mess up, it is live. If we have great content, which we might, it is live. We are more live than Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live could ever be. That's right, it's your good friends over at Real Heel Section. It is my name being Raph Esparza, my good friend Mike Stallings, on the other line being prompted to say hello now. Mike, how are you doing,
You,
sir?
you hello now.
Hello
You
now. Good
you
job.
never let me introduce myself.
Well, what would you like to
It's
say to
because
introduce yourself, sir?
no, it's because I'm not good at it.
I mean, you're welcome to start the show. It's a little bit easier considering I have all the like gimmicks and the little, setup over here. It's the show is based off of my computer, not yours.
Ew, ew. Oh, the show has been started.
Yes, the show has been started. There's been a lot of stuff since we've last chatted with you guys, so we are coming with you live right now on our ends. If you guys aren't following us, do us a solid right now at Real Heel Section on the Facebook, at Real Heel Section on the Instagram and on the Twitter. Follow us in all of those places because here's the thing. There are lots of other shows, but are really any of them that good? Mike?
I, no.
Yeah, that's the right
What do
answer.
you? Well, what do you watch? Do you watch anything?
No, I try to use that bullshit excuse that people who are in the industry use, which is, oh, I don't watch, I don't have the time, I'm too busy making content.
This is where I drop a Fighter and the Kid reference just to make you mad.
Fuck them. I'm so angry. I can't even deal with them half the time now, dude. So, Mike, here's my question for you. Your sound level is a little off. Do you have
Uh
any
oh.
idea as to why that is? Are you in a blurry room? Is it getting dark where you are? What's happening to you, sir?
No, baby's in the corner.
The baby's in the corner? Okay, I don't know what that means. Are you dancing with
No,
Patrick? Oh
you know
my
what
god,
they
are you
say.
dead?
But this is how did it go from Dirty Dancing to Ghost?
Because baby's in a corner. So fucking, I'm saying he dies. It's the natural progression. It's the Patrick Swayze fucking trilogy. It's Roadhouse first, I think. Or is it Dirty Dancing, Roadhouse, then Ghost? And I really think they explain all each other if you watch them in that order.
And then real life, is that where the bit ends at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So let me ask you this, Mike. There's been a lot of stuff that's been happening. Did you get the opportunity to watch the All Elite Wrestling press conference today?
I did not, but I have watched enough wrestling in my life to be so elite that I could just envision through reading what had happened.
It,
And I'm gonna be really honest with you. I had a moment. It's the first time I think I've almost teared up from reading.
you
Is that
teared up
weird?
from reading. Why is that?
I don't know. I'm excited for this. This is really cool. Like I feel like they're my friends. They did it.
What did they do?
They're gonna change the world, Raph. They're gonna change the universe as we know it, which was quoted by the person that invented the universe. Apparently, I know he invented Canada at the very least.
Yeah, I do appreciate when Grander and all the promotional gobbledygook that we get used to people saying in major settings gets put into the form of a really clunky press conference. So don't get me wrong, I'm all excited for this. I'm very happy, but it kind of had remnants for this press conference that was taking place out of Jacksonville, Florida, which good for them. And also, I guess what else did they have going on a Monday anyway, or a Tuesday? But as it was going on, I couldn't help but think, this is weird. Just in terms of the press conference. So you didn't see it. Do you have questions for me? Because I ingested it all before we went to do this podcast right now.
Yeah, was it in a parking lot?
It looked like it. So it looked like they recycled some of the sets from Nitro and they made a giant chain link fence that looked like it was built in some sort of weird, kid friendly park kind of jungle gym sort of setup.
No, they should have had the white picket fence that they use for the defense at football games.
Well, that's what I was hoping, but I couldn't help but notice as this was going on that we were in the process of watching how the story was unfolding. It seemed really clunky. The cues were missed everywhere. It just in terms of when you're watching a fantastical production. Now, it's not to say things weren't odd to begin with on the speeches, because the speeches, it seemed like a political rally where people were doing their promo work. And so when they go, hey, everybody, all I know is come May? Are we doing it May? May, I'm all in.
Where are we doing it?
Where?
Have they?
Who's doing
who's
what?
on,
Who's on first?
and then bring out MJF. Who? What the fuck? What? No, but here's the thing. I think they hit all the emotional spots. So through reading it, I was like, they got. I mean, it was a long. It took a second to get there, but I think they got there.
Maybe. But definitely their GPS malfunctions, so definitely their Surrey or their ways took them the long route to get there. Again, I don't want to overshadow how excited I am for the company as a whole. I will say it is weird when everybody going up there wants to end their promo by saying thank you. It's like one of the things they teach you in speech is to really avoid having to ever say at the end of your speech. And that is the conclusion of my speech. Thank you.
I find it hard to believe there's never been a crowd to be like, you're welcome. You're welcome.
There was a few moments, though, when you had the crowd try to start up chants that didn't quite carry. No. So there was one moment where they go, who are you? And it's just like three guys who may or may not be drunk. And the same could be said as to, anybody in Jacksonville. But you noticed that there was some symbolicism as to why they were doing it in Jacksonville, Florida. Why is that? When did that?
Well, that's like such a deep cut, though. I didn't even realize that. Do you think that's the only reason the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars was like, oh my God, it's Matt and Nick Jackson. It could be Matt and Nick Jacksonville.
I don't know, dude, but I'm a huge fan of, I don't know if you watch. No, I'm watching a show called The Good Place. And one of the characters has a love for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he'll make terrible references to them on so many different occasions. And they go, oh, it's so terrible. And then when the Jacksonville Jaguars were actually pretty good, they actually dropped in a reference in the middle of the season. They go, which, by the way, they're not bad right now.
When was this, like 97?
This was recently.
When they're expansion team and their uniforms. Who's their quarterback?
Who's their quarterback right now?
Yeah.
Pretty sure the mascot's the quarterback at this point, but at a certain point they were
He got promo time, I guess.
He definitely did. So, okay, now you told me that was part of your recollection of how you saw that going. I want to get to the cut of why you're excited for this company. They say they're here to change wrestling. I'll tell you a little bit more about the promo side, but I wanted to get why you're so excited.
Well, you brought it up, kind of with not even knowing, just by said, they took old Nitro sets. It's the first time in how long since we've been watching that there's a viable, alternative, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe. It's almost like we're almost approaching XFL sphere with this. It's we want it to be good, but and I think a lot of the people are writing on it, depending on Omega, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But it's fine. For them to be vested into it, and I know be a mark or not be a mark for Jericho to be aboard with it, and with the things that he said at the end of it, which might be a little prefabricated through the writing, like you said. But fuck, I mean, it's not about money. And I was actually talking to my better half, I don't think this is really about the wrestling. I think they just know they're going to sell a shit ton of T-shirts through this. It's almost like we figured out how to be almost have a weekly T-shirt service. So this is how we're going to do it. Hence, there being already people allegedly being turned away from SmackDown tapings because they're wearing AEW shirts because they're such marks that they had to already order it, or I don't is SmackDown in Jacksonville maybe?
Um, yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know, but you saw this as well, which was the note that it was reported that there were people being turned away from SmackDown who were wearing All Elite Wrestling shirts, reportedly.
Isn't that against the law? Like
No,
against the Constitution? There's a fucking amendment
I
that
don't,
like
I
it's
don't think that's how the Constitution
free
works.
use of wrestling T-shirts in public.
I don't think
I'm
our founding fathers were member of wrestling tees.
No. No, don't act like you don't see somebody in public when you see the Undertaker, like the old school Undertaker shirt. You're like, yeah, that guy gets it.
I mean,
Like you have to go say hi to him. Like, hey, buddy.
we definitely do strike up a conversation as being like, yo, we like things that are similar. Good for us.
Well, and that's going back to your question. That's the cool thing about that was the cool thing about All In, and they mentioned it in the from what I read. There's like they're taking progress is making, but like this is for everybody, whether you're race, color, gender, preference, political views. It's like it's for everybody, and it's just grasping all that. Like when wrestling fans get together, they just all mark out, and it doesn't matter, but whether it be 900 dudes with belts and like 3 chicks because 3 girls get it, but it's like it's fine because everybody's on the same. You strike up weird friendships. That's how I met you, guy. You want to get sentimental right now?
What's that?
Like how we met. We're just talking about dumb
That's
wrestling.
fair. That's fair.
You're stealing your memes about if somebody has a belt.
Yeah, let's address this right now. That bit of mine is well over, it might be 20 years old because one of the first times I really remember seeing it live and thinking, that's weird, was when WrestleMania came to Anaheim and I went to my very first access. And oddly in there, it didn't strike me as super odd yet. I just thought it was kind of funny. And, I roll with the punches. I realize that wrestling fans have good imaginations. And I think that's important. I think that's part of how we buy into it. That's how we enjoy it. That's how we ingest it. It's fun. However, there was definitely a moment where I kept seeing more and more people wearing belts. And it got to the point where when we did meet, and I was telling you that joke, I had been telling people jokes like that for years, but I made sure that I was kind of putting down, little qualifiers to people that said, I'm pretty sure if you look around, there's people wearing belts. And I think that we all subscribe to the benefit that if I challenge that person, they have to defend their belt. Now, next thing you know, even in the time I did that joke to you when I first met you, people were bringing not 1, 2 belts at a time, multiple belts as they would come over to these shows. And I said, whoa, you sick fucks. You can't be the Intercontinental Champion and the fucking World Champion.
Who do you think you are, the Ultimate Warrior?
Jesus. Cut that shit out. So they were breaking the rules. They changed, man. The rules have changed because of them. And lo and behold, now somebody made it a meme with that fucking stupid ass Steven Crowder. And I gotta tell you, this is the larger part that I have a problem with this is, because this is the second time it happened. The first time it happened was when I said that Joe Rogan is essentially male Oprah. And they use that joke. And it's really weird because the people who do make those jokes, I'm not gonna say that we are those people who trend set every single time, but there is some documentation on the many shows that I have been on and hosted that I've done that joke where I go, yeah, part of the reason why I can't always get into the Joe Rogan experience is it oscillates between, yeah, social justice warriors. Am I right? Yeah. It's really interesting. I'm a comedian that has a limited worldview, but I ask good questions occasionally. But I'm going to go ahead and override what you're saying here because I have my own belief system that I tell you not to go ahead and subscribe to, but I'm going to do it anyway. Anyway, young Jamie, pull up some confirmation bias for me right now. Thanks, man. That's
Oh,
a little bit.
all right here, dog. All right here, dog. I tell you what, Joe Rogan, you sure right. Have you be taking like these 50-minute animals, dog? I'll be like, fuck you, bro. I'm smoking a joint right now. Uncle Joey, motherfucker.
I mean, I love my Uncle Joey, so I'm not, I personally know him, so I'm not going to go on and make fun of him, except just being like, Uncle Joey's definitely known from being like, hey, you cocksuckers. And so that's fine. Here's what I'm saying. When Joe Rogan has the Jopra bit, I said, that's fine. I see that. I understand it. I might know the people who make that meme. I'm pretty sure they listen to our show. It's fine. It's okay. But when I saw my very specific joke about people who wear belts to WWE events, and I see it back to me in the second time in that stupid meme, it makes me mad. And here's why it truly makes me mad. The form of discourse should not ever be, hey, here's my opinion, prove me wrong. No, because you're a fucking idiot. You elaborate why your point is right. I believe that fucking meme and that fucking idiot comic are part of the reasons why people get so A, triggered, B, I think it's part of the idea that this guy has some sort of belief that his idea is better than yours, implicitly, just by saying, you have to prove it to me. The proof of burden is on you, my friend.
And C, sentimental, because that's our song. That's our song, Raph.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That last one, though, it was a kick in the dick. And then the thing that make it even worse is that they actually took it into the realm of the UFC, where somebody said, if you're wearing a belt at a UFC event, and I go, that doesn't happen.
No, like never, right?
It very rarely happens. Over at UFC events, it's there.
How are you going to double fist your beer in your koozies while you're trying to hold your belt? So, like, standing up. No, it's not.
First of all, dog, it's never too much to just bleed. Because you tell people, let me bang, bro. I just want to bang, bro. Let me bang, bro. So there are instances where people do want to fight. And this is the weird part is, I'm around enough goons on a daily basis who regularly size up other people and friends and say, yeah, I think I could take that guy. So I'm around it. I get it. I understand. But it doesn't work in the UFC, not in the same degree, especially when you go to now wrestling events. I would say 1 out of every 5 people you're sitting around has a belt next to you. Look around at your next show, especially if you go to the WWE. I think my statistics are right on.
No, there's a good percentage with 2 belts, and guaranteed you'll see 2 people with a fucking Divas belt, which is that's something I would do if I ever came to that conclusion that this is my life now. Because the next year, you did that at WrestleMania 26. I went to WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta, and some dude was passing out his Twitter handle like a flyer.
Yeah,
and it was hashtag grown men with belts, and I was like, yeah, of course. Like, oh, you get it. Yeah, I mean,
it's just
you watch Joe Rogan in the future.
It's just funny when I sit there though, and I go, "That's my fucking joke. Fuck you." But anyway, you guys, not a problem for you. I want to say what's up to Chance Masterson. What is up to you, my friend? We are talking all the latest in pro wrestling right now. I'm very excited that you were able to join us. Now, I want to go ahead and bring up a couple things. Number 1, very excited. Number 2, the only person with a little bit of charisma who made their way out to there tonight that I really thought held court was Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho knows how to captivate a crowd. He knows how to say the right combination of words, and I felt like his presence was very well represented there.
He invented it.
Yeah, of course he did.
Yeah, and he's the lead singer of Fozzy. Are you not on that Judas tip?
To be very blunt, I think that was part of the condition that they had for him to come on out, was that they had to play a Fozzy song for him to make the appearance. He's like, hey, could you possibly play one of my Fozzy records? That's the only way I would go about coming on out tonight.
That is the only live moving clip that I did watch, and I noticed that he did come out to his own shit, and he's definitely gained that freshman 15. I'll tell you that much right now, going into AEW like a rookie. What? Is he fat?
Okay, guys, let's break this down for you. I had a few people who were saying a few words about. We're going to transition into Wrestle Kingdom in a second, but I guess this is a good as any way to.
He wasn't that fat at Wrestle Kingdom. He was
Hold on.
wearing the Clockwork Orange thing to a T.
Let me change the fucking scenery on the. Okay, Wrestle Kingdom. There you go, kids. For those of you watching on the live telecast version of this, I just changed the scene to a Wrestle Kingdom
Like
13.
In the industry, they call that a fade.
Yep. Okay. At Wrestle Kingdom, he was a little bit what the kids might call extra in the weight. And here's my problem. And I don't know that people understand this. When you get older, the weight is harder to keep off. So when Jericho was wearing a shirt with the sleeves cut off, I said, you know what? That's good. I get it, dude. Wrestle Cruise was an amazing amount of time. You ate everything. You enjoyed yourself. You have dad bod status now. You only wrestle every once in a while. No need, dude. Do you? And then when the shirt tore off and I was like, we don't really have to do this. That's all right. No, that's okay. He did it, and I said, good for you. And I got notes from a couple of my friends later who were still up at all hours of the night watching this like I was. And they said, wow, Jericho's fat. And I go, I'm not going to call him fat. Because I think we all could stand to lose some weight. I just feel that with Jericho, why not? You don't have to do it. You could have kept the shirt on. You're okay, buddy.
Okay, two things. First of all, I highly believe they should have a class in the UFC called extra weight.
Well, there's a poor female by the name of Mackenzie Dern who I know in the world of jiu-jitsu, and she is a very attractive, very nice, questionable accent person. She was raised in America, but she has traces in Brazil. Yes. But she's, mostly raised in America and like Arizona. And for some reason, she has an accent in the same way that Madonna developed an accent weirdly in the later part of her career, where you're like, Madonna's not British, but why does she think she is? Well, Mackenzie Dern has been accused of playing the British card, or I'm sorry, the Brazilian card, and now speaks with a more thicker accent to the point where even though she speaks English, they always send a translator out for her, and it's very confusing. So
number two, and that she would be the inaugural in the extra weight.
Well, the sad part about it is she has been known to miss some weight here and there. And then she said she was going to go down a weight class, and people said, are you sure? And she goes, yeah, if I'm coming to the UFC, why not, you guys? Am I right? And I go, why is that accent still there? But anyway, I think we have two different scale. And when she missed the scale weight, we called it, and I hate to use this, but she is fighting at Mackenzie weight, which I think is a nice way of saying.
I'm trying to cut you off because I think we have two different definitions of the term extra. I meant completely extra.
No, I understand. It works.
All right, okay.
This is the part that
I thought we were shaming at this point.
Well, we kind of are. But I think the children have to understand that sometimes the dictionary has multiple definitions for words and contexts. So in this case, yes, Jericho is deaf extra because he wears a scarf occasionally. And his jacket that had thorns on it was a thing. He definitely looked like a member of The Cure who's not getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But, good for him, man.
It's that Judas. I'm telling you, the crown of thorns. And number two, I feel like he should have completely done the Joey Ryan spot where he pulls the lollipop out of his trunks, but it's just he just eats a shrimp cocktail. Like it's a piece of shrimp. And he has the sauce. Oh, cocktail sauce. Yeah. Way to lose out on that riff. Anyway, so Jericho comes out and says a lot of poignant things. I didn't hear the speech.
Okay.
Can you tell me about it?
No, I mean he did it. Okay, here's the thing. He did a speech. It was very short, but it was right on. And it essentially had are you guys surprised to see me? Yeah, baby. Hi, I'm Jericho. and he did a thing, and you know, that was,
Is,
I mean, that's
is
really it. That was really what he did.
is that because he's been in the WWE? Is he's still getting the that pop, or is it because he's Jericho?
It's because he's Jericho, and I think he's somebody that has kept the respect of the internet wrestling community, because it's hard to pin him down as to where he belongs. We're now at a place where it's natural for him to be at Wrestle Kingdom. It's natural for him to be on the 25th anniversary of Raw. It's natural for him to be at All Elite Wrestling. I mean, for all of these reasons and more, Jericho has kept us guessing and seems to be, for lack of a better term, at his age, it's kind of unprecedented to see somebody
Yeah,
as over as him. So
100%.
I feel like every moment we get with him, I'm just excited and I'm happy. And I'll tell you this much. So since we've transitioned to Wrestle Kingdom, this is what I thought of his match. His match at Wrestle Kingdom. Every false finish in that match was earned.
Yeah, because that's what he was supposed to do. You know, he was. There was. Read a lot of it. They're saying that he was kind of just going through the motions, but it looked like he was having fun. And when he's having fun, it's the execution is just. That's why it's one of the greatest ever. I'm wondering if Flair was able to do this when he was in his prime, and why he captivated so many people. Because I feel Jericho does those little things so good, but he puts a different spin on it every time, whether it be the outfit or like it's how he actually wrestles.
I think the weird part with Flair is Flair had a certain ability to rely on the promotional aspect. So whenever he would cut the promos, he was in it and you always had fun. The matches themselves were kind of a bingo checklist where you go, up,
Right.
bingo, fall on his face.
Run the turnbuckles. Yeah. 100. Yeah. Do the whole comeback because he was always a comeback babyface.
Yeah, and on the other side, though, like Jericho taking a pile driver and seeming to have a little bit of a split in his hair is one of those moves where you go, oh, I didn't expect that.
Well, he has, but you also understand when he takes that, he's got there's like, we have to do this so it looks like this, so it can come off. Fuck it. Whether I have to get stitches or what, it's going to be good for the game. And he does it better than anybody else consistently. And like you said, at his fucking age. I mean, because there was a lot of good matches.
Yeah.
What was your favorite match on the card? Was it that one?
I mean, I like the Ospreay match.
Yeah, that was by far my favorite match. And to have it be the opener,
Yeah.
forget about it.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because why did you like that match so much?
Because just that it was a classic showcase of what both of them were supposed to do, but it wasn't 50-50 booking so much as you would probably like think in an opening match. I mean, I've never seen Ospreay dominate a match ever, and it kind of feels like that's how it was, especially with the end. I don't know if they agreed to do a work that he was going to be hurt like that, but it was pretty stiff the way I think it was like a roaring elbow just straight to the temple. And then he got his flipping McGillicuddy off, and then that was it. Everybody thought Ibushi was going to win, and then we're stretching somebody out on the first fucking match. Like, that's going to be super hard to follow, but it was still so intense. I was like, that was fucking amazing. Let's New Japan it.
Yeah, I mean, I was a fan all around. As I was watching it, I couldn't help but think, yeah, to have a stretcher happen so quickly, I just thought, man, two things. One, when I do the next set of WWE BJJ videos, after the match, I'm going to 100% have somebody ice my neck. And the thing is, I'm going to have somebody sell a leg injury, but they're going to rush over and put the ice pack directly on my neck still.
You should have a leg injury and then just put your leg on the stretcher and that's it, and try to drag you off. Nothing else is hurt at that point.
I don't know, man. There's something about his style that always draws me in, even if the match is so-so, or maybe it just doesn't hit. But there's a consistent ratio of, yeah, I want to see that. Oh, yeah, that's pretty dope. And it's just fun, dude.
Is is he the best wrestler that the WWE doesn't have? Will Ospreay.
Maybe.
Considering breaking news, you heard it here first. Kenny Omega is going to the WWE. I don't care what any of the dirt sheets say. He's going to the Dubs. Was there any Omega at the press conference today?
No.
No. The three best wrestlers that the Dubs don't have right now are Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and Zack Sabre Jr. in my book.
Yeah, but Zach did do the qualifiers for the tournament.
So did Kota Ibushi. Well,
Yeah.
okay. So that has Kenny Omega had that bullshit 2004 like OVW video surface. That, oh, he was in the Dubs. Like how AJ Styles did a heat match or some shit.
Which, by the way, is always the thing I want to be reminded of. Because
What? Kenny Omega doing OVW or what?
no, I just always enjoy the fact when we can revisit those matches that the WWE is always like, that never happened. What are you talking about?
I don't like them. They scare me.
So there's that side. What other things are there to talk about?
Los Inconables de Japón. The first time I've ever said it right.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, So I guess I understand that the Bullet Club is not a thing anymore. Like, well, not the hottest thing at least, because they're doing that whole Jay White, which, by the way, my character in Red Dead Redemption looks like exactly. I was playing Red Dead Redemption while I was watching New Japan. I have to fucking put this on the board, but yeah, they look exactly the same. And Michael Peters' posse is called the Bullet Club, and it's just so fate happens. Anyway, back to I think Bullet Club's kind of like it's turning into All Elite, so they have to go with their hot faction, which I feel the WWE doesn't have anymore, which is kind of smart. But I think they're going all in. Sorry about the pun or whatever, but
Sure.
On Los, which I'm fine with completely. But to have all the titles change like that,
yeah, I mean, that was interesting to see. If you look at just the Wikipedia page, just looking at the second positioning of all C's, aka the championships changing on the defeated side, is it's an interesting choice, but it didn't make it any less enjoyable. I'll tell you one thing that I was really happy about with this event on a whole: the pacing. I like the fact that between matches 2 through 7, we had nothing over 20 minutes to begin with. But if you go from 3 to 9, which means you're essentially your co-main event, we were below about a 15-minute mark. And when you look at the tag team match, 7 minutes. When you look at Juice Robinson defeating Cody, which is still storytelling, that was a 9-minute match.
Well, I think the underlying thing was that they weren't going to give the Elite any kind of shine time.
Yeah.
But also, sprinkle on that, they were so adamant about Tanahashi, the record time of the main event.
Yeah,
so I think
that's always a great thing to be reminded of. Could they beat this record?
I would just assume that Okada and Omega wrestled forever last time.
I'm sorry, it's still going on. I'm so sorry. Breaking news.
Jesus.
That match is still not pronounced a winner yet.
Isn't that what everybody wants? So that's what that's the kind of takeaway. That's what I took away from it, is that all the belts changed, but we were fine with it. Like, it was still great storytelling. It was good wrestling. They have a bunch of stars that you're going to want to see, but you also know it's just a weird time right now, dude. I'm telling you, this weird transition. I mean, considering... Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, let's not overlook everything here, because the Zack Sabre match was also fun. I mean, he carrying a bulk, I like Zack with Takamichi Inochu, and then again, how much does fucking Japan love Juice Robinson?
Well, because he's all tripped out like that. It's like when the Beatles went to India, kind of thing. You know what I mean? He's got that total. He's got such a Japan vibe, but and he's not white too. So it's just like he's a foreigner. I mean, he's from the mainland, but he's not. And by the way, back to Zack Sabre Jr., is that the Japan version of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman?
I guess, yeah.
Right, because he just stands there and Takumi Shinuka does a whole promo and says how he's like the fucking best submission wrestler, like the beast and all that. I mean, such a
Maybe
but talking like weirdly he fits the bill. Like I see that Japanese.
Maybe I just need to get my version of speaking just enough Spanish to be the Mexican Paul Heyman.
It's my favorite thing ever now.
Señoras
What would your name
y señoritas, mi cliente. And then I'd have to pick who my wrestler
No,
is.
me llamo es.
Oh, right. Well, it's backwards, so I was doing it a different way. Do I use the formal usted, though?
Nosotros, always. The universe, ese. Nosotros. Nosotros.
One of my buddies back in high school wanted to create like a hair metal hardcore band called Vosotros. And I was really into it. I was like, yeah, you should totally do that, but you should conjugate your fucking lyrics. And they were like, yo, that's great, but it's also too hard, so no.
Yeah, that's where I tap out. Matrices and math and conjugation and Espanol.
Fair enough.
Which, okay, so I will. The only thing that was missing from the New Japan was the New Japan Rumble.
Yes, that was a little disappointing.
No Billy Gunn. No Juice and Thunder.
There's that. But as a whole, though, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay.
Like I said, even though all the belts changed, like it was still, yeah. Who's getting up at 3 a.m. or midnight? Oh, so out here in Vegas, there's a place called the Nerd. It's like a gaming bar, and
I know where that is.
They had a viewing party for it from 12 to 3. I'm like, that is my kind of fucking place right there.
You know, it's funny. That's where the other 10th planet is out there.
Inside the Nerd?
It's right next to the Nerd. It's in that like same complex. I think the Nerd is it upstairs?
And I don't know, but it's so fitting for you to be like, oh, I'm a nerd and I train next door too, bro.
Well, I mean,
you ever heard of a Jopra?
Jopra. I wrote that joke, you motherfucker. You know, it was weird. This is on a small level, Mike, but I'll level with you. There is a major jiu-jitsu player who actually sent me a text and apologized for stealing one of my memes. And he was like, dude, I didn't know. And I said, it's all right. I was like, you're not the first nor the last person.
You don't need to tell me that. I was at PWG with you and you were in your stupid internet famous hat and some guy recognized you from the internet. You know what that did to me?
What'd it do?
I don't know. It made me feel all kind of certain ways. We're like George Michael Bluth walking home with his head down without music and everything.
Well, I mean, listen, it's not one thing to just be internet famous. You have to keep it up. I was at a place this week. I'll be very, very honest with you. I was at a place this week with one of my buddies who trains, and people recognized him from his podcast, and no one recognized me. And you know what? I was just okay with that because
just okay.
I was just fine with it because you know what happens when you have too many people who are too famous. It gets very confusing for the general audience. It's like when you see your favorite sitcom characters going out and going, wait, is that somebody from the cast of How I Met Your Mother hanging out with the cast of Friends? My brain's melting. Like, it just doesn't work, you know?
Sensory overload.
So for me...
Monday Night Raw's been interesting.
We'll transition there. You let me tell this story, goddammit. You can't call me, like, Insta-famous and then not have me have the story to tell.
How many followers do you have?
Right now, I mean, hold on. Somewhere in the 20K.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I for some and then why am I like amazed and like put in my place at the same time? What emotion did I just go through with
I
that
mean,
right
listen,
now?
dog, I'm just trying to give you a soft estimate. I mean, oh yeah, no, that's about right. Okay. Good on me.
I even felt you feel that. You're like, oh, oh, really? Okay.
Well, okay, Douglas
That's,
James, he asked me to look at something, and it's kind of like a magazine cover kind of a thing.
I have a
And,
bone to pick with Douglas James.
well, I mean, he has a bone to pick as well with himself.
Wow.
Hip bone connects to the no talent bone. Anyway, that's not fair, but it's also very funny. So he sends me these things, and I made a joke about how good I am at layout for design, that sort of stuff. And I was like, he goes, yeah, you're pretty good. And I go, well, I'm really good because I was making headlines on layouts like this when you were in your diapers. And he laughs, and I go, no, but seriously, I had to actually check the math on that joke before I sent it, and it checks out. And he's he's like, damn, dude. So there's that. What is your bone to pick with Douglas James?
His abdomen region.
Okay, why?
Fuck is this guy doing? Like sit-ups every day? I feel like I'm not doing enough. Like, didn't this dude just get hurt?
Yes.
The fuck?
Yeah, that does seem generally unfair.
Yeah. I'm not not too thrilled about my ego not liking that at all. It's like uncontrollable. He understands this, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I've told him is it's pretty unfair that he took a unfortunate spill a couple months ago. He got an injury. His hip was not well, and they said that he might not wrestle again. And when somebody says that, you know, it seems like he's going to be on the shelf for a while. You figure they're going to do that wrestling montage of Seth Rollins, and you can see those Triple H quads coming back kind of montages being put together.
The leg press, yeah, for sure.
But you know that takes months and years and all that sort of a thing. And you think in that time that they're off that maybe they get a little bit fat because they're not able to do all the athletic output that they're doing. Nope. Douglas James still has a six pack. It's not fair.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, fuck you, Doug.
I mean, I don't
mean that, but I do.
but I mean, go
Yeah,
fuck yourself, Doug, is
Just
usually what you should say.
yeah, you know what? You know, I really fucking eat a dick, Doug. No, I don't, you know what I mean? But I mean that in the no, I don't mean
He understands. He gets it. So
well,
anyway, we wish him the best, Doug. Come back stronger. We look forward to seeing whenever you get back. So
whatever it is you do.
I mean, I don't know what you do. You do something, right?
With your bongo gimmick.
Let's transition to this because new year, new me, and let's go. Let's get rid of Wrestle Kingdom. Oh, look, it's the McMahon family. Where do we begin? Because it's been a while. Michael Peters says, "I'm ready for Vegas!" Exclamation marks.
God, yeah, let's do this. That's the phrase. This is big boy. He's gonna graduate to his first plane flight. I'm kind of interested to how much Xanax this motherfucker is gonna take for real, though. That's the only thing you can do at that point, right? For an adult and going on your first plane flight.
Probably. I mean, I don't know.
I love how you act like you don't know what Xanax is.
I do know what Xanax is, you dork, but I haven't taken it, so I can't give you that 9 out of 10 doctors recommend it because I'm the one doctor who said, I'm not really familiar with it. I know of it. I've just never taken it.
Well, you've never worked in a Vegas restaurant, then had some waiter named Javier come over and say, "Hey, take this," and chase it with a Red Bull at your beginning of your shift. So maybe I'm jaded.
Well, fine. I mean, tell Javier that I appreciate the offer. I don't want it to be rude.
No, so yeah, Vegas, let's do this. I met Michael Peters at WrestleMania 28 unofficially. So what are we
Okay.
on, 35? So that's fun. Heel section shout out, WrestleManiacs. But let's talk about these McMahons.
Okay.
How do you feel about this? Them lying to you?
I'll tell you my favorite part of them showing back up. Aside from Vince McMahon as Santa Claus, which, by the way, should be a yearly tradition at this point.
100%.
Because when he got out there, I said, this fits his obnoxious old manness with his, is this what the kids want? Me as goddamn Santa, then let's goddamn do it. So I thought about that. But the second thing that makes me excited about this was they said there was going to be a major shakeup. And of course, whenever Raw goes against football, there's always a slide in the ratings. And people are very concerned who have no idea about ratings that the WWE's slide is any worse than anything on TV right now. TV as a whole is in a slump in terms of ratings. What we now see as hit television would have been canceled 5 years ago. But it's unusual for a stalwart like professional wrestling to go through enough where we say, oh shit, is that the lowest Raw rating ever? Is that the lowest amount of people who've ever watched Raw at one point on a Monday night? And yeah, it is a little weird. So they decide to bring out all of the McMahons, because why the fuck not? And they say, and this is my favorite part, Mike, you guys, aka the audience, is now the authority. Do you know the subtlest aspect of them saying you guys are the authority is the fact that now if the product sucks, they're gonna blame the audience. And that, my friends, might have been the best heel turn of goddamn 2018.
Yeah, but nobody's looking at it as like a heel turn. Everybody's into their faces.
Listen,
no chance. That's what you got.
But the thing of them positioning themselves as like, whoa, 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 hey, you guys couldn't be us. We're like, look, we're the good guys now. And you go, yeah, I'm not buying this. And they go, well, get Baron Corbin out here, audience. Boo. And you go, wait, why are we booing him? I mean, it's not great, but he's not the actual guy making these things happen. What the fuck?
Well, they're booing him. Well, no, they're booing him because they actually don't want to see this fucking guy in their eyeballs anymore.
Right, but it's like displacement theory. It's literally saying, don't blame us. It's you. You're the authority. You boo him, he's out of here. Get him out, guys.
Then it should be one long. What was that stupid pay-per-view they had where everybody thought they were voting?
Oh, what is it? New Year's.
Cyber.
Oh, God.
Cyberware 2.0.
Who the fuck 99? Told them? Was it Cyber Tuesday or something?
Yeah.
And it always sounded like the porno that you always passed at the video store and you go, Cyber Tuesday. Nah, I'm good. Thanks, though.
This sexy robot has had enough.
Wait a second. Hold on. Tell me more.
It's like a girl in a halter top with just like metal, like one of those Bluetooth fucking earpieces.
In a dystopian future, Susie 100100432 can't get enough slutting up the Interscope section of the net. But guess what? Her rival, QZ 10347211101, is like, what up, slut? And then they get hardcore cybering. But what's that? If that is them fucking to a modem beam. They both have to do it to the sounds of the AOL program. That's when you know they've blown their load.
You have female.
Woo!
No.
That was good. You didn't even let me get to the part when Stan, the lost Cybertron who has to come from the future, says, you must bang me or you die. And then they're like, what? And they're like, come on me if you want to live. So there's that. Guys, this is why you missed us. Admit it to yourselves right now. You are the authority, people. You're the people who, if this is going awry, it's your fault. I want you to know, the audience, you control so much of what's going on here. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yeah, get to the chopper. Like I had to. Like I just had to. There's no segue. It just comes. Okay, back to the lesson at hand. So everything's supposed to be different. And what do they do? I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna fast forward up to as recently as last fucking night. What do they do? They give you the most different thing they could possibly do, and give you good old Hulk. Dun, 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 dun. Was this music even the same? It sounded weird to me.
Yeah, they definitely did a take on it a few years ago where they did a digital remaster. Um, okay, I'm a little, I'm not mad, but I definitely, as an adult, see through the aspect of Mean Gene having to die so that Hulk Hogan could become a thing again. And if you're saying, well,
Whoa.
hold on, Hulk Hogan came back before then, yeah, he
Whoa.
did. When they were not supposed to go to Saudi fucking Arabia, and yet they said, you know what sounds like a good idea? Going over there right now. You know who won't turn us down, unlike Daniel Bryan and John Cena? Hulk fucking Hogan, who's waiting for his invitation to come back. And you know that the minute Hulk picked up the phone, he's like, oh yeah, brother. So he showed up. So yes, Mean Gene dies, and it's suddenly okay to bring on Hulk Hogan un mas time. What was your thought? You said that you had a gripe on this, and I don't know what your gripe
Yeah.
with Mean Gene was.
First of all, I think Mean Gene would have been mad about the Hulk Hogan shirt. Like, could they put a little more work into that? It looked like
Yeah.
refrigerator magnets on a fucking tank top.
Well, I was
No,
more mad that it looked like Vote for Pedro, but for the memory of Mean Gene
God,
Okerlund.
I just set you up. You're just punching me up so good today. I appreciate. Anyway, no, they had a 10 bell salute.
Yeah.
Was that at the beginning of the show?
Yes.
That was before Hulk. That was way before Hulk Hogan.
So they did the 10 bell salute, and then there was silence. And I'm not going to lie, I do appreciate the Hulk Hogan theme song. So when that does play, it does prime us to the nostalgia of it all. And when Hogan did come out, the call and response, ears, whatever, makes his way into the ring, he was in character. And then he told us he came out in character in case we were confused by the two, which is a weird blending of the worlds to do it on the actual show. But again, because somebody that we love passed, you give it a little bit of wiggle room. So you say, all right, no problem, Hulkster. Let's see where you're going with this. So Hulkster without the sunglasses was real Terry. Hulk Hogan with the glasses, the sunglasses on, pure Hulk Hogan, who cut a promo at a photo in memoriam of Mean Gene Okerlund. Now, I'm not going to lie, I actually thought it was a effective segment.
It was good. Oh, it was. It was. Yeah, no, it's good. It was withstandable.
Yeah.
You're like, it was okay. Yeah, you okay. We understand why you get this floor, and it was what it was. But I don't think it's not gonna like prompt him to like a bigger push or him being like accepted. I think that's his get out of jail for being a racist card for that day. You think Mean Gene was racist with him? Anyway, so my gripe with
You have to call the
10
hotline
bell
to find out.
10,
That's the way.
10 bell salute. No, this is the tackiest thing I've seen. Dude, I've been watching wrestling my whole life. One of the tackiest things I've ever seen the WWE universe do. Maybe it's just me. The 10 bell salute's going on. Dude has his hat off and is fucking filming the 10 bell salute with his phone.
Okay.
Is it just me, or is that just gross? That's gross, right? First of all, when are you gonna watch? You're gonna post this? You're gonna post it, or when are you gonna go back and like watch the whole 10 bell salute like on your computer because you're fucking twist? What? Am I off?
It's hard because it's just like when people don't go to a concert and then sometimes you see them put up their shitty camera version of it, and you know that somewhere out there's a way better version of it, but then sometimes you never see it. I kind of understand that.
Just on your feed. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, okay,
I don't know, man. Social media is weird, and I think the whole premise is to make you feel like you're somewhere you're not. So, in that instance, it's fine. Is it weird in the sense that Yeah, dude, your shitty phone footage isn't going to be better than what's on free television or they're going to put up on free internet about, I don't know, 2 hours later. Yeah, that's kind of weird. So, I don't know, man.
So I told this to my girlfriend who is a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, that's why I love football. Because when it comes time for America, yeah, you never see people doing that shit. It's all about America. I was like, you just, did you just, did you just, yeah, they don't play that shit when it's about America. I was like, I am oddly fascinated with this,
Yeah.
with
The
this right now.
the America's team is the most obnoxious aspect of the Cowboys fans who are, bless them.
Oh,
For
but you're about to go through the fucking worst thing possible in LA, like circumference
now.
geographically. A Dallas Cowboy versus an LA team in LA.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. Your fourth Cinco de Mayo parade.
Jesus. I'll tell you this much, dude. The beautiful thing about sports is that when you do see a collection of people wearing a certain type of jersey and it's a team you hate, you're really, really on a realm of going, well, those are all people I don't like. It's
You
like
just
a
don't have-
good
yeah, you
telltale
don't get-
sign.
They're like guys with belts. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
We're all cosplaying for different causes.
I always told people, I'm like, I just can't do a jersey with a name on my back. I don't mind having a jersey, but saying, I'm primetime Deion Sanders as a kid, I was like, I'm not him. I don't want to be him. Listen, don't get me wrong. I want to have a rap video with MC Hammer, then known as just Hammer. And I want to sing, must be the money, I really don't care, be the money. Like, as a kid, I said, man, I don't think I could do a rap song, but I think I could do his rap song. Pretty confident I could beat him at this.
You did that so good. I'm like literally still dancing. I know you guys don't think I am, but no, hands up in the air.
I invite you guys to go back and listen to that song because every so often I'll go down a wormhole of, is this as bad as I remember it? And yes. And you know what? Even when I play that game, I will look for the live performances. I think there's one that he did. I cannot for the life of me find it. But I definitely was looking for, must be the money, you really don't care, must be the money, must be the money. Because I thought the actual hook was great. But the fact that he was shoehorned into a rap career when he should, when he essentially rapped like, and people don't know, and I know you know why. And I go, why is this drunk Beverly Hills wife speak his form of rap pattern?
No, because I'm sure his girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
I'll tell you that much. That song at least had Rick James, and it's the Citizen Kane of at least indulgence projects. From
the crossover.
Oh, dude, Eddie Murphy, dude. You put that on at a party, you watch people. You just watch them and see what happens. So, anyway, we did move over to Mean Gene, and I never changed the photo on the live cast here. So, out of respect, I will move the McMahons here. Look at that beautiful smile.
Well,
do you have a certain favorite memory of Mean Gene?
it's hard, no, but
Okay.
he's just like, I don't know, it's weird. It was just like one of those things. Like, I'm a Dodger fan, so Vin Scully he was always there. Mean Gene was just always there. Actually, I take it back. Easy. My favorite Mean Gene moment was the fuck it.
Yeah.
The fuck it. I watched that live. I've been watching. Used to love SummerSlam as a kid, and I'll never forget when the SummerSlam. I can't remember who he was interviewing it. Maybe Rick Rude and Bobby Heenan. And the SummerSlam board comes down like 5 seconds into the promo, and he just turns around. I think he gets scared. It's just, oh, fuck it. And they just let it run. There was zero time. And that was when he passed. That was the clip I posted. But he was always there. And WWF is one thing, but he was always there he was big in WCW.
Yeah.
Like, he was always, when he was intercepting people when they were coming up the ramp after a match, that was kind of like WCW's like thing. That's kind of like what separated them, and he was the reason in his fucking overreaction and his selling and his voice. And I just kind of trip on the fact that he's just like a normal looking dude, right? Kind of
Yeah.
balding, but he had so much charisma and he knew that he could sell himself like that. And he connected with fucking everybody that's like, oh, that's the American dream with like, and Dusty Rhodes. Those are guys that they just went out there and they did it because they liked doing it and they knew how to do it, just like Jericho we were talking about. So, man, you just don't think when he dies like that, like he's somebody like that's always going to be around. It was just that, yeah, I didn't like that. That one hit kind of hard.
Here's an interesting thing that I think is hard for people to understand. Ric Flair was on a radio show, and they asked him his thoughts. And it's hard sometimes for Rick to kind of stay on point, but there was one moment that he did explain where, Rick always speaks in hyperbole for a number of things, and he admits to as much. But he wasn't wrong about this hyperbole, which is, you're never going to find another guy like him. He was the greatest. And when Ric Flair's calling somebody the greatest, you could say it's, one of his boys, and, it's somebody he goes back with. So there's a little bit of a bias there. Here's the thing I think about with Mean Gene Okerlund that is unique and to himself that Ric Flair did point out, which is when Vince was really good at cutting these vignettes of, say, Hulk Hogan training with Mean Gene Okerlund for a fight, the match wasn't something that you expected to be the thing. But they were creating these kind of fun, humorous videos that play with the biggest star in the company and match them with the announcer. And yet they were able to derive a certain kind of sense of humor that other sports did not have at that time. Every other sport, and this is what Rick was saying, didn't do shit like that. They do it now.
Well, they tried with bloopers, but it couldn't transfer.
Right. And so we said, to his credit, Vince gets a lot of that and was the guy who was pushing for it, but that Gene's charisma was good there. That's one side. The second side that I think is hard for kids to understand is this guy made us want to call a hotline. I don't think that could be overstated enough. I seriously would listen and watch these shows and have to really think, how badly do I need to know the extra intel on who Sting's opponent could be for Starrcade, or if someone is actually injured and that they might be out? Because kids, the internet breaks all of the rules. But when you had somebody who would continue kayfabe on a phone call, and that you were so motivated to want to call that number at your parents' probably detriment of wanting to kill you, there is something weird that you have to admit about a dude who seems like he might be out of step and out of touch, but could not be more in his rightful place and getting over with kids, because now we're all old as fuck. But when we were young, this was the guy. They didn't have multiple people waiting in the wings. They had one guy who really was there to put over everybody else. Other people were wrestlers. Other people were play-by-play people. He did those things too. But when he was there, you knew that something special would happen. And I think that's a nice underselling of watching him with Macho Man, watching him with Hogan, watching him with talent who didn't quite figure out how to get themselves over, and seeing, wow, those things really stand up.
Well, just like with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan, they kind of did the same thing. But like you said, he was interacting with the wrestlers and doing that with them, getting mad, getting confused, and getting appalled by some of the shit they said, which played back into the character. And like you said, it was just like this normal dude that like, oh, and he always looked the same, which begs me, like, you brought up a great point. Like, how much better? Like, you have to read when you go to the websites, kids. You're reading these spoilers and all the quips. You're reading it in your own voice. Just imagine if you had Mean Gene reading that voice, reading those tags for you. Like, they should have like an internet service that, like, it's Mean Gene's voice. just like vocalize it like an audio book, but it's Mean Gene forever. It's just telling you, because I don't want to hear Meltzer's voice. Like Mean Gene had that like, he had that like grit in it. Like he's seen some shit. He's been to Roppongi. Meltzer only like can dream of that kind of stuff with his like little clip. Like Mean Gene didn't have a clipboard. He had a microphone, a real man, and a mustache. Come on, where's Mustache Meltzer?
I'm gonna be really honest with you. There was an era where I thought the Micro Machines dude was Mean Gene Okerlund, and it was really confusing to me as a kid. So I'm telling you, I went through different eras with Mean Gene, and it was impressive to see this guy had a storied career that went from multiple organizations, and yet he always stood out. And then even when he went to WCW, he was still a prominent force of trying to get you in and make you feel like a product is established. But this is the other thing that really, really came to my attention that I even forgot about. But when I watched the clip, it all makes sense. Mean Gene Okerlund was the only person who could take Hulk Hogan to task when he had the greatest heel turn in all of professional wrestling. That heel turn is good because people are throwing trash and people are very shocked that the all-American good guy could ever be forced to turn heel for some reason. And so while the action itself was great, Mean Gene was right there to pick up and basically didn't do the objective bystander, just kind of bemusingly looking around as nonsense is going on. Actually taking Hulk Hogan to task and saying, whoa, how could you do this? And think about that as you watch that clip again. Because we all look at that clip every once in a while and say, man, that heel turn, you could feel that every single time you watch it. But I invite you to watch it with Mean Gene in mind, when you really recognize, like, man, yeah, he made that happen too.
Yeah. That just made me kind of emotional. Like for real. I think I kind of. What are you doing later?
I'll tell you this.
You want to talk about Mean Gene some more? Get out of here.
We're gonna keep this party going. I'm 9 minutes into the eulogy that I'm pretty sure he'd want me to go ahead and cut off much sooner.
It's like a 7.5 bell salute. I wouldn't say a full 10.
But I mentioned this on Verbal Tap, and before we come to a close, I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. I'm very happy to be back with you guys. You will hear from us here's the thing. The beautiful part about January is all of the events and the big things kick back up again. It's great to be a wrestling fan right now for multiple reasons. We have a new company that's coming into the fall. We had a great event in New Japan Pro Wrestling that was just phenomenal to stay up and watch with all of your nerd friends. And then we've got a Royal Rumble coming up, which means it's almost Road to WrestleMania, which this just goes by so fast. But of course, we want to say, if you guys are listening to us right now and you enjoy what you're hearing, follow us at Real Heel Section on the Instagram, on the Facebook, on the YouTube. You will see more of it, and you can also check us out at heelsection.com. But Mike, as we close this up, I wanted to leave you with this, and this is the reason why I think the Mean Gene thing meant so much to me. And I was really, for a long time, when I started doing interviews in the world of jiu-jitsu, I would always tell people, I'd be like, well, I go up and I ask the interview, questions to the guys after they win a match. They're always kind of like, okay, well, what's the sport? And I go, what's Brazilian jiu-jitsu? It's kind of like wrestling, but there's and they're like, I don't understand this. I don't watch that sport. And I would try to explain what I was doing, and I go, well, I'm kind of this, and I do this, and I go, well, I'm like the Mean Gene of jiu-jitsu, for lack of a better word. And they go, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I can see you doing that. And I think it's remarkable that when you see all of the headlines that come out after a man passes like him, and you spend all of this time wondering, like, why are we spending so much time talking about this dude? Like, there are other people who die, there are other people who come and go, but the fact that he was the voice, the broadcaster that you can pinpoint, much in the same way you can always recite a Bobby Heenan, there are people whose legacies outlive their run on this earth. But for me, I always found it phenomenal that I could tell people that's what I was doing or what I was aspiring to do, and everybody would be on the same page. And I thought it was extra special that when he passed, you saw major publications. I read his obituary in the New York Times. I read multiple people saying he was one of their favorite aspects of it. And so it's kind of interesting in that you got to see him go to the Hall of Fame in the WWE and multiple Hall of Fames as well. But you feel like he got his due, but you also feel good knowing that in his passing, a man's work was very well respected. And I think it's a testament to all of our childhoods and fond memories, but it's more than that. It's a great performer. So I thought that was particularly the reason why his passing meant so much to so many people.
He's the greatest of all time. He set a precedent for something that was never there. He's not a commentator. He was like our straight man.
Yeah.
Like the one and only, like for that world. So that was well said, sir. So Mean Gene me. I don't know if that rolls off like
I don't think it does. I think
you Mean Gene me, and we got a deal.
It's gonna be. I think we're gonna close this week's episode by just saying, you know, I just got a fucking text right now that just said Vegas May 25th. Jesus
That's right.
Christ.
Oh, that's right. You're making me I got all mad right now because like, fuck, the Royal Rumble's in driving distance.
Well,
like,
I'm apparently
like
going to that. So
and I live in Vegas. How lucky did I get, baby, that we're doing this? I got Michael Peters. I tell you, first time on a plane's coming out. I've never even met the dude, and we're doing this. We're for double or nothing on our friendship, on our internet friendship. We go fishing together on Red Dead Redemption. Okay, there's just certain things. There's certain bonds that airplanes can't break. There's not even airplanes in Red Dead Redemption. This guy's taking a big leap in life to come be a part of the elite. I'm about to spend $130 for all those shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Make it very clear. Though if you want to sponsor me going to Vegas and you're listening to this, that's a very big hint, everybody who's listening to this. We'll gladly throw your name into this fucking podcast.
Dude, I
somewhere.
think they have a 10th planet inside the MGM Grand Arena.
Oh, fuck off. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what I'm going to end with. If you like what you're hearing right now, be sure to call us on our hotline. You can hit that hotline at 1-800-MEAN-GENE. And that's going to do it for us here on this week's episode. Tune in next week. For this is your good friends at Heel Section saying good night.
Mean Gene me.